All right, so first, congratulations on
Thank
running
you.
for governor.
Thank you.
Kind of tell us what went behind this decision.
Well, I've served in the Texas House for almost a decade now, and we've had some great successes, but I never wanted to run for office. I ran for the school board before that because my son's school was threatened for closure. Once I was there, I learned that our biggest challenge in our schools is really the funding that the state keeps instead of putting into our neighborhood schools. So I ran for the House. Now there I realized the reason we don't have the money that we need for our schools and all sorts of other needs for working Texans is because of a corrupt system. And Greg Abbott is the biggest beneficiary of that corrupt system. So we won't get the Texas that we deserve until we have a governor that prioritizes the people of Texas.
Mm-hmm. Now, you just touched on this a little bit, but if you could expand a little bit more on why you felt the need to do this. Why are you deciding to take this into your own hands?
Right. So after 10 years, I've learned that our property taxes and all the taxes we pay into the system are going to benefit Greg Abbott's friends to line their pockets instead of into the needs of Texans. And so I've decided that in order to get real change, that we need a different leader at the top, and I'm running for a Texas governor to be that leader.
Okay, so now kind of tell me how it feels to be a woman running for governor in a state like Texas. What does that feel like?
Well, we've had women governors in Texas before, and so that's not something new for Texas. I'm running for women, for men, for kids. I'm running for all Texans, and so it is now the next step after being in the Texas House for 10 years.
Yeah, wonderfully said. What kind of future do you see for Texas?
I see a bright future for Texas. So Texans have big, bold, Texas-sized aspirations, and there's no reason why Texans don't deserve to achieve that. No one works harder than Texans. That's a fact. Texans work more hours than anywhere else in the country. Yet, we pay some of the lowest wages in the state of Texas. We know that Texans are uninsured at twice the rate of the national average. We know that housing costs are too high. We know that healthcare is too high. So there are a lot of kitchen table issues, a lot of challenges that Texans face that the governor should be prioritizing.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I kind of want to talk about the redistricting battle. That was at the forefront of the legislation this last special session. Can you kind of talk about what your plans would be when it comes to that? Would you try to reverse some of those changes?
Well, that's a great question. What the governor did was prioritize politics and target districts that are majority minority so that they could get 5 more Republican members of the U.S. representatives from Texas. That's wrong. That is cheating. And so I do not support that, and I voted against that. What I have supported in Texas is an independent redistricting commission that is made up of citizens who decide what lines make sense for those communities. We shouldn't have politicians drawing the lines that decide who gets elected. Politicians shouldn't choose their voters. Voters should choose their elected representatives.
Yeah. Well said. And then another topic, immigration and immigration policies. Governor Abbott has touted Operation Lone Star during his time as governor. What would your immigration policies look like?
What I know is that in Texas, we need to be treating immigrants who have roots in our communities, who are beloved members of our communities, different than we're treating immigrants who are newly arrived. I know that many Texans were concerned when the caravans were coming to the border and the border felt out of control. That's not happening anymore. What is happening is that American families are being terrorized by a system that is blind to their humanity, that is not recognizing the dignity of every person and of the family unit. So we need a change that first addresses all people with dignity and humanity, and that recognizes individual people who have already contributed a lot, are hardworking and law-abiding Texans who want a chance to do things the right way in the state.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say to Texans who support immigration, but they're kind of worried about crime involving immigrants, you know?
Well, I want safe streets just like everybody else does. One of the issues that we've found that is a big issue in Texas and in other parts of the state is that the governor, in a contract with a private prison company, is bringing ex-offenders to Austin with no connection to our community, and once they've served their time, letting them out on our streets, and they're living on our streets. This is an issue that has caused all sorts of concerns for Austinites. I have heard from other places in the state that this is happening. The person I first learned this from was brought to Texas by the state of Texas. He was not even incarcerated in Texas. No connection to community. So that does not instill confidence in our criminal justice system, and we need to make sure that we're putting the safety of Texans first.
Mm-hmm. And what else would you want to tackle as governor?
Cost of living is outrageous, and so we need to ensure that we're doing everything possible so that every Texan has access to health care, right? We know that we could insure almost, or actually more than 1 million more Texans if we were just to pull down those federal dollars that the governor has refused to use. Those are dollars that Texans have paid into the federal system, and they could insure, again, over 1 million Texans. These are working Texans who deserve health care. It is unacceptable that the governor is playing politics with their health and their lives, and as governor, I would make sure that we prioritize insuring those Texans.
Is there anything else that you want to include that I didn't touch on that you feel is important?
I'm launching from South Texas, from the Valley, where I was born, raised, baptized, and married. It's important to me to launch from the place where so much of my identity was created. The Valley made me who I am, and I'm proud to be able to launch this campaign for governor from there.
And I guess lastly, your overall message to Texans supporting you.
My overall message to Texans should resonate with every Texan. It's time for change. We need a governor that prioritizes Texans, that prioritizes our needs, and not that of the billionaire class.